Okay, full disclosure, I'm a big F1 fan. F1 is short for Formula One. But for those of you who aren't, let's give you a quick rundown of what it's all about. But instead of me just telling you, how about I show you? This is KN Explains Formula One. So right now, I'm racing the Canadian Grand Prix. It's on a track called Gilles Villeneuve, and it's in Montreal. And it's really hard. That's a turn, that's a turn, that's a turn, that's a turn, that's a turn. No. Okay. The first time Formula One drivers ever raced on this track was in 1978. And Formula One's been around for almost 76 years. But before we go back in time, let's let Rosanna Tennant, a broadcast journalist and TV presenter for F1, give us a quick definition.
Formula One is 20 cars, 20 drivers, which means 10 teams competing at the very, very top level of motorsport, so car racing. And at the moment, we have 22 races on the calendar, and that means we go to 22 different locations and we race there over a weekend. And the drivers are battling it out for the World Drivers' Championship.
Okay, now we'll take you back to where it all began. Though there is some debate, what is widely regarded as the first ever proper motorsport race took place in 1895. It was a 1,200 kilometer race in France from Paris to Bordeaux, and it took 48 hours to complete. But the true Formula One era didn't begin until 1950. After World War II ended, the organizations overseeing racing changed. The Fédération Internationale de l'Automobile took over governing motorsports. They created a new set of rules and regulations they called Formula, and in the end, they decided Formula One was the best name, as the number 1 would indicate that they're the premier racing division in the world. The first championship consisted of 7 races, or rounds they called it, and the cars looked like this. They could hit a top speed of 290 kilometers per hour and accelerate from 0 to 100 kilometers in about 4 seconds. Cut to the modern F1 championship, which has 22 races, or Grand Prix, and the cars look like this. They hit top speeds estimated around 360 kilometers an hour and accelerate from 0 to 100 in about 2.6 seconds. Today, F1 is considered the top tier of automobile racing, but its popularity in North America and Canada has lagged compared to Europe and other parts of the world. Over the past couple years, though, that has changed in a big way. Since 2020, F1's popularity in the US and Canada has been skyrocketing. In Canada, F1 races have outperformed other major sporting events on TV, like NHL games and NBA games. And in the US, broadcaster ESPN has seen an average viewer increase from 550,000 in 2017 to 1.4 million in 2022. That's a big jump. So what's the deal? Well, in 2017, a company called Liberty Media Corporation purchased F1. And according to Tim Hauraney, an F1 analyst for TSN and a former driver, Liberty Media Corporation introduced F1 to social media.
Now you look at it and they have these massive social media platforms. Their YouTube channel is huge. Their Instagram channel is massive. Same with their Twitter. They're starting to really get into TikTok a lot as well. So, I mean, they really leveraged all of those different platforms, which kind of dived into a younger sort of fan base.
But that wasn't the only thing the new owners did. In 2018, they launched a new Netflix series called Formula One: Drive to Survive. And it was huge. Rosanna Tennant says,
There's been a massive impact from the Netflix series Drive to Survive. I think a lot of people got hooked on that.
And she's right. It quickly became one of Netflix's top shows. And as the show began to grow its audience on Netflix, viewers in North America started tuning into both the races in person and on live TV.
I think that Netflix taking care of that helped them grow the sport on 2 separate sides. It helped them grow it younger, but it also helped them attract a fan base that can spend money to go to an F1 race, right? Now, all of a sudden, every single Formula One race this season is pretty much sold out, which is wild. I've never thought in my lifetime would I ever see that. So I think those two separate parties really did help to just blow Formula One up.
But not everything in the world of F1 is racing at top speed. For all the power, speed, and excitement of F1, there are some legitimate criticism about the sport. One that even the most casual viewer might notice is the danger. Like, isn't it super dangerous to be driving cars that fast?
We wear these passes around our neck every weekend, and on the back of the pass it always says motorsport is dangerous. So we have a constant reminder that it is dangerous.
In F1's history, a total of 52 drivers have died in crashes. And although that number is high, deaths have dropped since F1 first began.
It's not as dangerous as it used to be. I mean, if you go back to like the 70s, you had Jackie Stewart really paving the way for safety. And if it wasn't for him, I don't think Formula One would be as safe as it is now.
One measure in particular has been getting a lot of praise lately.
We now have overhead protection, we call it the halo. So that has protected a lot of drivers. Since that was introduced, we've seen crashes where we're like, oh my gosh, that has been revolutionary. There are several drivers who are lucky to be still driving in the championship because of that introduction. So it's much, much safer than it was.
There was a dramatic crash at the Bahrain Grand Prix in 2020, where many drivers credited the halo as one of the reasons Roman Grosjean emerged from his crash alive. One other area critics point to in F1 is diversity. Lewis Hamilton, one of F1's top drivers and most successful, recently called for more diversity in the sport. He is the first and only black driver in F1.
We need to have people from all backgrounds, a diverse mix of people working together. So Lewis is totally right to be pushing that initiative.
And Hauraney says F1 is taking steps from the ground up to grow diversity.
I was speaking with a couple of F1's executives, and I think a big proponent for them is to really start getting involved at the grassroots level in terms of STEM. So STEM being engineering programs for all different types of backgrounds. Once they start finding all of this young up and coming talent, you can see that it will change for sure, 100%.
Another thing F1 is looking to improve, their impact on the environment. I mean, F1 travels all over the world, flying people, equipment, and cars. They put on these huge events with thousands of people in the crowds, and their cars use a lot of gas. That's not great for the environment, right? Well, Hauraney says that too is something F1 is working on.
At the moment, they're set on, I believe it's 2030, trying to be, net zero in terms of carbon output. They're doing a lot with trying to do away with plastics, single-use plastics at events, and trying to spread that word.
And he says the fuel
is what's going to be extremely important for these race cars. They're working with, the oil sector, the gas sector, to try and develop biofuels that will work in these hybrid power units. If they can find something that works, that doesn't give off a ton of carbon, then you can see that progression of that starting to come down into road-going vehicles that we have, today.
Okay, not too bad for my first try, but that was tough. I can only imagine what the real thing feels like. But for now, that's it for KN Explains. For CBC Kids News, I'm Abigail Dove. I'm gonna go for one more race. I just need to be a little faster, and I think I can win this thing. I spoke to some people who really know their motorsports for this piece. Rosanna Tennant is a broadcast journalist and presenter who worked with Formula One. Tim Hauraney is a former driver and racing analyst for TSN. I also referenced information from CBC, Formula One, Nielsen, Netflix, and ESPN.